I'm going to interrupt my regularly scheduled content with a little short video. I ordered a bunch of Spectra AD markers from Carpe Diem markers. That's who I ordered them from. I ordered them from Carpe Diem markers. They arrived today. They arrived in bags like this, and one of them arrived with its cap off, and it is completely dry. These things are a little bit sticky when dry, but that's it. I took advantage of one of their deals because they are probably not going to be stocking Spectra ADs anymore, so they were going for like $1 a pop, which is pretty inexpensive, but I don't think there's a good reason for a marker to get shipped with no cap. So I'm already working on a reconstituting Copic markers video, and I have reconstituted other alcohol markers in the past, so I guess I'm going to be reconstituting this marker as well. It's a shame because it was brand new and it arrived in this condition. I've worked with Carpe Diem markers in the past, back when I used to do a bunch of alcohol marker reviews. This is the first time such a slip up has happened, and I do know that things do happen in transit, but if I had paid full price for these markers, I'd be pretty upset. So I guess this is the start of a new alcohol marker video where we are reconstituting yet another alcohol marker. This is 059, a very dark gray by Spectra AD. And we're going to go ahead and get cranking on this once I get this cleaned up. So I guess I need to recap this. So uncapping the other end, this end still has some juice in it. In fact, it marked on my hand. So I think my major focus is going to be salvaging what I can of the brush nib at the front. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. We have a somewhat dead Spectra AD marker in warm gray. It was purchased for about $1 from Carpe Diem markers. It looks like they're kind of liquidating their Carpe Diem selection, their Carpe Diem stock. I mean, see, I'm all over myself this morning. They seem to be getting rid of their Chart Pack Spectra AD stock. That's the words I want to use. So I'm going to do a full review of these markers later on, but since I'm already doing a salvage job on Copic, might as well do a salvage job on a Spectra AD. The difference is I ruined the Copic. This was sent to me messed up. So it's a little dry, but the chisel nib does mark. The brush nib is just completely gummy. So we have some options. These are not refillable markers. They do not feature a replaceable nib. They do not feature any of the same kinds of features that Copics do. So I have a couple options. I want to use some rubbing alcohol because it is a cheap universal solvent for alcohol markers at least. I want to use some rubbing alcohol to kind of reactivate our marker. We really only need, I think, to reactivate the brush tip. I have a brush tube here. I can fill this container and then set it upright, but that is a lot of waste. I have a smaller container here. This would be much more applicable, but I can't use the brush tube top. So I think I'm going to try to find something that will fit the brush tube top. Here I have a small Dinky Dip. It won't form a seal, but it'll kind of work, and if I prop it up, it should work okay. And I used the phrase worked with a while back. That's a bit of a misnomer. I've purchased markers from their company, and I'd been happy with them in the past. This was probably just a shipping goof, filling this with, let's say, about half full with rubbing alcohol. You can use toner solution, but this tip is already super duper gummy. And I'm just going to put it in. I would turn it and show you. I'm going to move the camera, but I need to prop this up. And we're going to do this for about an hour. Come back to it, see if that helps. And I'll move the camera in a second so you guys can see what I did. Everything's kind of delicately balanced, and my studio is getting progressively messy. Does not want to balance. Ooh, I just spilled alcohol everywhere. That is how it goes. However, I cannot move the camera, but however, I can see that soaking it has already had somewhat of a positive So we're aiming for this color, and this is what we have right now. And there is my spill. It's not a big deal. It's a small amount of rubbing alcohol. So we're going to try this again. Please do not send me your wrecked, burnout alcohol markers unless you want to pay me to fix them. I do not want to fix them for free. And this is more of, I guess, morbid curiosity on my part than anything else. Okay, so if I can get it to stand, it should be a good holding situation for this. The getting it to stand is a bit of a problem though, because I can't really take my hand away from it. Also, I'm sure if I had contacted Carpe Diem, they would have done something to try and make the situation better. Their customer service seems pretty good. They sell markers. I'm just annoyed that this marker was a dud, I guess. But it gives us a chance to experiment and to learn and to try something new, which is always great. And I'm really still looking, one-handedly looking, for something I can prop this in so it won't flop over. I don't want to tape it to the desk because I actually want to use my desk. Maybe if I had a cup or something that would work. This will hold it for a second. Not really. But I want to show you guys. Ah, that's take 2. This is such a finicky little situation. I'm going to clean up all of that later. See, if I weren't trying to do this on camera and I wasn't plugged in, I would just carry it with me while I looked for something. But it's hard to do things one-handed and operate a camera, so I do apologize. I know some of you guys are probably getting a little annoyed. Okay, what have I got that I can use for right now? See, the problem is... Aha, okay. That'll at least hold it for now. We're seeing a lot of ink reactivation. I was going to let it set for an hour. I don't think it's going to take that long. See, it's already getting the alcohol really dark. A lot of ink is coming out. So I think that should work. Again, we are trying to get it back to this color here. Okay, so some of my alcohol has evaporated. I'm just going to move this over to the side, and I guess I'm going to use this little container here as a dump. We're getting a lot of old ink out, which is great. Let's go ahead and test our marker real quick. Okay, it's coming back. It was completely dead, so I'm impressed that with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol, we've been able to work some magic. I'm going to refill our little container because it was half full, and we want to soak the whole nib, not just part of the nib. And we're going to recap it. You guys can kind of see that. I don't want to turn it onto its side too much. And then, so sorry about that. I thought it would go in without separating, but it's really just not a good fit. If I could get a good seal, this whole process would be so much easier. You know, it's really frustrating watching somebody fumble around like this. But think of it like art supply science. We're applying what we know. And we're applying past experience. Come on, go in there. And might be easier if I put this in first and then try to put the cap on. Yeah, that's the easier trick. So it's all a learning process with some failure, but some success. Okay, so this has sat for about 10 minutes. We're gonna give it another try. Oh yeah, that's coming along really nice. Okay. Almost the same color. Beautiful. Maybe a little while longer. I wouldn't even change out the alcohol. Just give it a chance. If I had any syringes, I would syringe a little bit of alcohol into the marker as well, just so that it really gets into the juice of it. In fact, what I can do, I can carefully pull that out, and having a top on it's going to help with evaporation. I can cap it, and I can store it standing upright for a while just to kind of let some of that juice soak in. You can also pipe back in some of your reclaimed ink again if you have a syringe. See if that'll balance. It probably won't. So I'm just going to cap this, maybe dig around, see if I have any syringes. But that's going better than I thought it would, to be really honest with you guys. I'm happy to see that that was a very quick fix. I remember years ago, and I'll link it for you guys, fighting with a Striker Ironlak marker that was just super DOA. And I did get it working to an extent, but it took several days of fighting with it, and this has been like maybe an hour of my time. Alright, let's see. Looks like it's soaked in a bit. The brush itself is much juicier. The color is fairly consistent. I'm going to let it sit again for just a little while. Just pop it in there, and then we'll do the same where we turn it back over, let it soak in. Maybe do that a few times, but it seems like we've almost fully reconstituted it, which is pretty exciting. Okay, so what I thought I would do is I thought maybe we would try marinating it. So I've got a dropper, and I'm just pouring some of our reclaimed ink back onto the brush. You can see it dripping a little bit at this point. I'm trying to hold it up because I want it to go into the barrel of the marker. I'm going to use a paper towel. Just kind of wipe it down, clean it up a little bit. Cap it. And just let it sit upright, brush tip up, so that it can soak into the marker itself. And I'm going to do that a few times and continue to swatch our marker as we go. I don't know how I forgot this, but let's see if we can... Yes. Okay, we can remove the back chisel nibs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to inject... I wish I'd known that, because it would have been easier to do this. Just going to inject some of our reclaimed ink. And the color is going to be different. Alright, so this nib is nice and juicy now. which is why this technique is used either to completely clean out markers so that you can refill them, like what I'm doing in my Copic video, or you can use it to salvage a marker that has been left uncapped. You can see in the background it's a little bit lighter gray, and as we work out some of the extra, it's going to get a little bit more to the normal color. We're going to use Copic tweezers. See, these things are handy. Means I don't have to touch it. And replace the nib. Store it horizontal for a little while. I'm going to cap this. And we're going to test it again. And I'd say about 10 minutes. Okay, so the marker is a little bit juicy, but it is juicy on both ends, which means that the ink has permeated to both ends, and the color is fairly consistent. So I think we can call this salvage job, cannot speak today, complete. So the materials you're going to need if you're trying to salvage or bring back to life a disposable alcohol marker are whoa, making a mess. You're going to need 99% isopropyl alcohol. We are using 99% isopropyl alcohol because not all alcohol markers have the same solvent, and this is a good, decent, and expensive universal solvent. You can also use Copic colorless blender if you want. I would recommend you do not use Ranger alcohol blending solution as it tends to be kind of sticky and tacky. My preference though is 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can get this at most drugstores or on Amazon. You're also going to need small containers to hold your alcohol as well as to hold your ink solution. You're going to want a pair of Copic tweezers if you have them available. These are the ones with little grips rather than these, although these kind of tweezers are useful in other marker situations. You're going to want a pipette, and you're going to want to work on a surface that is easily clean. This was a much easier resuscitation job than my Striker Ironlak one. You can check out that video by clicking the cards. I'm sure one of the cards has it, as well as a video to me resuscitating Copic markers if you're curious. And you can check the description below for further links, as well as links to where you can purchase the materials you would need for this project. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys again really soon with our Spectra AD field test / review. Bye guys!